In the heart of Murang'a, hidden among emerald hills and morning mist, lies a forgotten chapter of Kenya's tea legacy. And today, it's being rediscovered by a curious agriculture content creator, Wanjih Olasa.
Kenya is the third largest exporter of tea in the world. At home and in roadside kiosks, it's everywhere. It's a daily ritual. But here's the paradox. If you walk across the streets of Nairobi, you won't find any dedicated spaces for tea. Meanwhile, a country like India, which is the largest exporter of tea in the world, they have modern homes, they have modern cafes designed specifically for the selling of tea. And here, so I impose the question, why are we one of the largest exporters of tea, yet we don't really own it?
Wanjih Olasa journeys not just through rough terrain, but also through time to Gatura Greens, one of the oldest tea farms in Kenya. Her mission? To explore why a country that drinks tea every day has never built a culture around it.
Good morning, how are you? Welcome to Gatura Greens. Thank you so much. Hello guys, today I'm in Gatura Greens, one of the oldest and family-run tea farms in Kenya. And I'm actually very excited and I came to dig deep into this tea history. And I have one very simple but powerful question, which I'll ask later.
She will be your host.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Welcome
Paula.
to Gatura Greens.
Thank you so much.
Are you excited about the day?
I'm smiling. I'm very excited. It's a nice sunny day and I can't wait for us to do the farm tour.
You will have fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm excited.
So down here are the washrooms, and then a stationery with warm water where you can clean your hands, and you may take your seats and someone will serve you breakfast in a few.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
After a warm welcome at Gatura Greens, guests are greeted with a steaming cup of hot red tea infused with hibiscus fruit. A tradition that speaks to the hospitality and culture of this historic tea farm. This ceremonial drink is offered before the tea tour begins, setting the tone for an immersive journey into the heart of Kenyan tea making. It's a moment of connection, a simple act of sharing that reflects the warmth of the land and the spirit of the people who call Gatura Greens home.
I'd like to take you through today's activities. So right now we'll start with a brief introduction, and then after that we'll get to go to the farm. So there are two ways to get there. You could either choose to drive or take the walk. The walk is 1 kilometer to the farm and 1 kilometer back by the road. So at the farm you will get to pick some tea, also learn so much about how we plant tea and tea maintenance. And then after that we will come back here and process the same tea that we will pick. And then after a tea processing, we will do a tea tasting session that you will get to interact with different types of teas, some that are a new experience and some that you have interacted with before. And then after that, we will get to take the walk to the waterfall, which is 1.2 kilometers the whole loop and steep. So we go down and come back up. I hope your shoes have some very nice grip. Also, I will help you with some walking sticks to make it easy to go down and come back up. So I'd like to start with a question. Do you know where tea was first discovered? So the story says that one day a Chinese emperor who was a herbalist was seated under a tea tree boiling some drinking water. So there was a very strong wind. Probably that tree was this big. So this tree over here, the one right behind the hedge, is a tea tree. So if not maintained at a very low level, tea could grow very big, even bigger than this. So there was some wind and some few leaves fell into the pot accidentally. And so he decided, I'm not going to take them out. So after a very nice boil, he told his servant to pour him a cup of tea. And after drinking it, he thought the taste was pleasant. So he formed a habit of drinking from the plant. So with time, he realized that it has medicinal properties. So now he would encourage more people to drink from it, and with time more people to cultivate from it. So it took tea over 3,000 years for it to become famous, but when it really did, and now it is the #1 most drunk beverage in the whole world. Out of this leaf in our factory, we process 7 types of teas from this, and then from this leaf we process 2 types of tea from this, regular ones and even more premium ones. So grading in whole leaf tea will be done depending on what part of this bush has the tea been processed from. So all regular teas will be processed from this leaf as it is, so 2 leaves and a bud. And then now we have more premium types of teas, often referred to as champagnes of tea in the orthodox industry. And so for example, we have a white tea that will be processed from 1 leaf and a bud, just like that. And then now we have silver tips that will be processed from this, just this, and golden tips, and we will get to interact with them later on during the day. Yeah, so that is my very short introduction about tea. So it's time for us to go to the farm. Would anyone like to drive to the farm? All right, perfect.
Gatura Greens is more than just a tea farm. It's a living classroom of tradition and innovation. Here, Wanjih Olasa had the unique opportunity to witness how tea is carefully processed and to participate in the ceremonial art of tea tasting. Each step, from withering to rolling, oxidation to drying, carries the essence of Kenyan tea culture. And in every cup, a story of the land and its people comes alive.
These are the tea leaves everyone has collected, including myself, and now we are here for processing it. That's the next step.
So after tea gets to the factory, a quality assessment is done to make sure at least a batch should be at least 85% good leaves. So after that, now they have to decide what type of tea are we going to process. In this case, we have 2 categories. So we have teas with minimum caffeine and teas with maximum caffeine. Teas with minimum caffeine, e.g. purple tea, green tea, yellow tea, and then teas with maximum caffeine, e.g. black tea and oolong tea. So if we had green leaves here and we were going to process a black tea, the first process would be withering the leaves out in the sun. But now, because we have these leaves and we are going to process a tea with minimum caffeine, the first process will be roasting them or withering them through that setup there. So for now, I will get started with I think the quality of our tea is good. We did a good job. We are looking to attain in all these leaves. And apart from killing or denaturing the enzymes, something else we are looking to do is soften this leaf. So we are processing whole leaf tea. So we need to maintain the integrity of this leaf as whole. So if we would deal with a fresh leaf, then it easily snaps, and we need these leaves as whole as they are. So I am going to turn them until they are done. So in the factory, this is not done by a jiko and a pan. It is a commercial roaster that will be connected to electricity, and the leaves will be withered using steam. So if you'd like to do this with me, feel free to come closer. What you do is you press and then pull them closer to you. Only use the top ones to get the bottom ones, and only touch the leaves you can see. Also make sure you exert some pressure.
You put pressure?
Yes.
Sorry, why are we doing this again?
To increase the surface area so that it's easier now to make tea from these leaves. So rolling it like that will help in making very many cuts on the leaf, bringing out the enzymes, and now it is
done in the factory, or do you have machines?
Yeah, so in the factory this is done by a machine. Same base is applied, so a bottom that is rough and a top that rotates in one direction, also applying some pressure. So tea doesn't have preservatives. How you preserve the leaves is by completely drying them. And then, as much as your package will always come with an expiry date, it's just with an estimation of how well you store your tea, how much moisture it could attract, how fast it would mold. That means if your tea is molding and the expiry date is not there, then you need to stop drinking it. But if it's not molding and the expiry date is past it, then it's still good to go. Yeah. So I will spread this and then we will air dry them and then we will proceed.
How long do they normally need to dry?
So I will air dry them for like 1 hour and a half and then I will pop it in the kitchen oven to completely dry the leaves and you will have a souvenir to take home.
So Kenya's tea is very world class, but I don't understand why I feel like it's very underconsumed in as much as it's had every single morning, especially at home and as a routine basically. But it's not really sold outside, in the streets of Nairobi, and that's something I don't quite appreciate. But places like Gatura Greens are really changing the culture of tea here in Kenya because they have a whole experience. You come here, you go to the tea farm, you pick the tea yourself, and then you process it, and then you come back here and taste different types of tea, which I think is really cool. And it's a concept that people should adopt and come in as a business idea. Actually, maybe I'm talking to someone over there. Please, somebody do a tea shop somewhere in the CBD and let it be Kenyan tea. And we're not talking about other investors coming from outside Kenya to come and build their coffee shops here and continue with their chain stores. No, I mean a Kenyan person promoting Kenyan tea is what we want to see.
Purple tea, vibrant, rare, and packed with antioxidants, is grown only in Kenya. And yet, few Kenyans have tasted it, because most of it is exported, branded abroad, and served in cafes we don't even know exist. Local people whispered to Wanjih Olasa.
This is a very special product, an only Kenyan product, only commercially farmed in Kenya, as much as other countries are getting to try and plant it. So how it came to be was a result of a natural mutation of the green bush. So out of climate changes and other factors, the green bush would change its color to this or something very close to this. So the Kenya Tea Research Foundation noticed the mutation, but the leaf itself was very unstable. It would go back to green, back and forth, back and forth. So they did an experiment to find out what extra component exists in the leaf that changes its color to this purple that the green bush will not have. So they realized that it has anthocyanins. So anthocyanins are very strong antioxidants, the same ones that will be in blueberries, red cabbages, purple sweet potatoes, and all those foods that will have a bluish reddish color. So to come up with a purple tea bush that was very stable, what they did is they took anthocyanins and grafted it on the green bush to come up with a purple tea bush that was very stable. So in 2008, now the Kenya Tea Research Foundation was sure they have a product that they've been looking for. And now, so Gatura Greens got to be the first to be picked to plant purple tea, but as a pilot experiment, which took 4 years. And in 2012, now the Kenya Tea Research Foundation, they were sure that they have a product that they wanted, and now it was open for other Kenya tea farmers in tea growing zones to plant purple tea. So the commercial farming of purple tea began in 2012.
This purple tea has floral notes so different from what we usually have at home. Tasting these made me realize we've barely scratched the surface of what Kenyan tea can offer.
But behind every leaf lies labor, laughter, and legacy, the hands that harvest the nation's pride. These are the patient, steady hands that rise with the dawn, that bend and sway with the green rose, plucking each tender bud with practiced care. They carry with them stories of generations, laughter shared in the fields, and the quiet strength that has weathered every storm. They are the heartbeat of the land, turning sun and soil into the warm comfort of a cup of tea. In every leaf, there is a testament to resilience. In every sip, a legacy steeped in the laughter of those who labor with love.
So right now we are with a local who works in one of the tea farms here in Murang'a County, and I'd love to get some insights. So that big basket, how long does it take to fill it up?
It takes just only 2 hours.
No way.
Yeah.
2 hours?
According to your experience.
Ah,
yeah.
You get better as you go.
Yeah.
And would you say that most farmers around here are tea farmers?
Around here in Muranga County, most of the farmers, they plant the tea.
And do you have a relationship with this tea, or like do you enjoy the process of picking tea?
We enjoy it because here is where we get the money. Yeah. So according to your experience, how you plant the tea, it's the higher you get the money.
So, considering that Kenya is one of the biggest exporters of tea in the world, would you say that you, as a person who's a laborer in tea farms in Kenya, is paid according to par? Is the payment you're paid, is it like, would you say it's good?
It is good because if you go somewhere else, you cannot get the highest money that I get here. It's better than other works. Because if I plant the tea 1 kg, I'm paid with 14 shillings. 1 kg. So there's somewhere I will go, I will be paid with 9 per kg. So I appreciate here because I'm paid with 14 per kg.
So you are a happy worker here?
Yeah.
Beyond tea, Gatura Greens offers something you won't find in your regular cafe. Connection to nature, to story, to tradition.
So right now, where are we going?
So we are going to take the walk to the waterfall. So we are going to walk down the forest, through a bamboo forest, also through a eucalyptus forest.
Is it that steep that we're gonna need these ones?
Yes.
On the very same day, after hours spent exploring tea gardens, discovering the delicate art of tea processing, and delighting in the rich flavors of fresh brews, Wanjih Olasa wasn't done yet. She set out on a forest walk within Gatura Greens, eager to uncover more of its secrets. Each step along the winding path was a reminder of the harmony between nature and the land's timeless legacy. And finally, she arrived at the waterfalls, an enchanting sight where water danced and sparkled in the dappled light, offering a quiet moment of wonder to close the day. It was a day of endless discovery. From the fields where tea leaves flourish, to the heart of the forest where water whispers stories of ancient earth. And in that shared journey, she found the spirit of Gatura Greens alive in every breath.
So right now we are at the waterfall, and I'm gonna put the name of the waterfall right down here. And oh my god, I'm very excited. This is where they get their water because there's a dam close by. That water is used for construction. Yes, and you might want to see this for yourself because it's insane. Oh my god.
Founded in the colonial era and nurtured through generations, Gatura Greens is more than a tea estate. It's a living archive of Kenya's agrarian roots, led today by Catherine Karanja, a woman determined to restore pride to Kenyan tea.
Your family has been deeply involved in tea farming for generations, and I'd love for you to share a bit of legacy of how Gatura Greens came about.
Okay, so basically Gatura Greens started with the tourism, but the farm itself has been there for decades. And so my grandfather is the one who was the first, I guess, tea farmer in our family. And he started farming at a time when Black people were not actually allowed to farm commercially. And so he was one of the first people to be allowed to farm commercially by the settlers. And then our tea journey as a family started from there. My parents were also quite interested in it, and so they continued the legacy of, I guess, tea farming, and they did that until 2016, when they now set up a cottage factory to produce their own tea. and essentially do some sort of value addition. And so now from 2016, we're producing tea, growing and producing various different types of tea, including purple tea, which is probably how you learned about us. And then now Gatura Greens started in 2020. And basically we wanted to sort of just add a more fun angle to tea farming. So we've been farming for a long time, but none of the kids, which is I guess the third generation of kids.
Gatura Greens is known for combining tourism and agriculture. So I'd love to know how this idea came about.
The other wine farms, really loving tourism. So I travel a lot, love tourism, love the concept of doing more niche, authentic experiences when you're traveling, because I always feel like it gives you a more authentic immersion into that culture. And so from there, then I came up with the idea of doing a destination tourism per se, with the farm tours, and then that's sort of how we began doing the farm tours at Gatura Greens. So how it happened, so in 2020, I'd actually pitched this idea and tried it, I think in 2018, if I'm not wrong. So I'd done one farm tour. I did a lot of logistical things around that one. So it wasn't the easiest to put together, but it was really fun. So I got a few friends together, put it out, I think, on my WhatsApp status and maybe my social media, got a team together of about 20 people. My brother loves to cook. So at that time, my brother, I think, was the chef. My dad and the factory manager were the hosts, and I was kind of just like the coordinator. And it was a really cool tour. It was very intensive. It was the very first one I did. And then I took a break for about 2 years, sort of trying to figure it out and if I want to develop that or not. And then in 2020, I was like full on serious that this is what I want to do now. And so my dad came up with a really cool concept of how about we travel to all the farm tours that are in Kenya, find out what they're not just tea farm, because at that time there was only one tea farm that was doing tours, but the rest were not doing any tours. And so we went to cheese farms, we went to coffee farms, we went to vegetable. So whatever farm was doing farm tours in Kenya, we went as a family to sort of just learn how they're putting it together, how the concept is running here. And then we merged that with what we had done, like I've done wine tours in South Africa, and my sister had done all of them.
What are some of the challenges that are faced in agritourism and now in Gatura Greens, and how do you overcome them?
So, to be honest, I'd say that the first time we were doing it, like the first year was tough because I guess it was, an untrodden path and we didn't really know what we're doing. None of us have done any of this professionally, right? Like I studied economics and I was working in corporate before that. I'd never done anything to do with hospitality, and my family also hadn't done anything to do with hospitality, but we really love hosting. We host all the time. That house is always full of people. Individually in our own homes, we all love to host. And so I think that passion for hosting also really helped, right? To just put it together and figure out what makes guests comfortable, what do they look for, what makes them want to refer you to the next person, what will be a unique selling, factor on the farm that they wouldn't find anywhere else. So we loved putting it together as a passion project. And so I don't really think that was really difficult. I think the most difficult part was trying to get momentum of guests flowing in. So the first few guests were obviously from our network. So it was our friends, our families, and they were so supportive. So the first few, maybe 3, 4, 5 tours, so maybe running 2 to 3 months, was mostly our friends and family, and then our friends and family sharing it with other friends and family. So it started very organically. But we also started during COVID. And at that time, you were not allowed to eat in restaurants. You're not allowed to eat in confined spaces, but we were doing it out in the garden. And so it was allowed. And I think that actually gave us momentum because a lot of people, especially Kenyans, and I loved that so much, were coming out, to the tea farms and doing the tea tours. And it was so fantastic to see that, it was accepted locally by locals.
Most guests who come to Gatura Greens leave with their expectations not just met, but beautifully exceeded. Each visit weaves a rich tapestry of memories, from the rolling hills of tea to the laughter shared under the African sun. Here, fulfillment is more than a promise. It's the quiet joy that lingers long after the journey home.
And are you enjoying your day?
Yes, it's wonderful.
How's the experience today at Gatura Greens?
It was really great experience. Got a chance to come out in nature, learn about tea making, sample delicious tea. This 3-course meal was lovely, and the walk down to the waterfall. Had a great time.
And if I can ask, why your expectations met for this place?
Definitely exceeded them. I mean, I didn't really have any expectations. I came out just to learn something new, and yeah, definitely exceeded my expectations. I enjoyed the day, met some interesting people, learned a lot.
What's your name?
My name is Richard.
And I wanted to ask, now that you're in Gatura Greens, what led to the idea of coming here to learn about tea farming?
Do you know what? I think because I was born and raised in the UK, and tea is a big deal in the UK. I live in North America now. I live in Canada, and coffee is a bigger thing. So I really wanted to, being here, I really wanted to find out sort of what the whole tea experience is, what's involved, what the process is. I knew nothing about it other than I love tea.
What is one thing that you didn't know but you've learned today in Gatura Greens?
The entire process. To be honest, I didn't know anything. So for me, part of the experience was, picking the tea and 2 leaves and a bud. I would have never had any idea. And then how it's processed, and sometimes some of the buds are thrown away to maintain the actual crop, and the time that's left in between the picking as well.
So if you were to give the whole experience a rating out of 10, what is it?
I'm gonna have to say 10. I'm saying 10 because it really exceeded my expectations. And even though you learn so much about tea, actually going and doing the hike as well and going down to the waterfall was just beautiful.
We are trying to answer one question here, because Kenya is one of the largest exporters of tea in the world. But if you look around the streets of Nairobi or any big city in Kenya, you won't find a tea shop or a space designated specifically to sell tea. And in things like coffee, you'll find a coffee shop. And
absolutely.
Yeah, yes. So how can we help ourselves as Kenyans?
That's a really interesting question. I think part of what you're doing, and just awareness and promotion of things such as this is great. I mean, I've been to quite a few places, and where I go, there's pretty much a Starbucks on every corner, right? But when we came here and we actually did the walking tour of Nairobi, we were shown the actual first tea shop in Nairobi, which we didn't even know existed or was a thing.
Yeah. Okay, tea is more of a wake up, drink tea in the morning. Yes. At home. So yeah, maybe we need to change that. And what are the daily challenges you face here as a person working here?
The challenge I'd face is probably meeting guests that sometimes are not very interested in the whole thing, or maybe they get here and change their mind, and also dealing with grumpy guests. But the best part of it is that I will only see them for one day, then the next day I will have a different new group of people.
And for that one day, how do you overcome the challenge?
I try my best to be very normal. So I will be all smiles, and sometimes I will concentrate on someone that is in a better mood and is willing to do the whole thing.
And how has working here contributed to your personal development?
So working here is great for me. I love working in Gatura Greens. So it feels like I am traveling the world without traveling, because I meet people from different parts of the country or different parts of the world, and that is very great because they get to share with me their experiences, stories about where they come from, and it is very amazing. It is completely amazing.
Generally here in Kenya, I feel like coffee is a bit more glorified because you'd find a coffee shop specifically and designated for coffee. Yes. Why do you think that Gatura Greens is one of the few places that is really amplifying the growth and tourism of tea farming?
As much as coffee is glorified out there, Kenyan tea drinking culture is way higher than coffee drinking culture. As much as people will not take tea seriously because it's something they grow into, something. So like since you were young, you've had tea for breakfast and all that. So I'd say tea is just amazing.
It is amazing, but I'm trying to find an answer for this question because we are one of the biggest exporters of tea,
Yes,
right?
true,
And we also export this coffee.
Yes.
And tea is just part of our daily routine. You wake up, you drink tea.
Yeah.
How come then we're just having these coffee shops instead of a tea shop?
Well, I think there should be someone out there that would think of coming up with a tea shop.
But guess what, Gatura Greens, you guys are doing great because the experience I've had here with tasting teas, that's the experience I expect to have in like a more upscale up. Not to say this is bad, but because you get a whole experience of the farm, everything and the tea tasting. But I'd love to see kind of a change where you pass by the streets of Nairobi, you come across a tea shop. Paula, thank you so much for hosting us. I've really enjoyed this tour and actually can't wait for the world to see what I've learned today.
All right, thank you so much too for visiting Gatura Greens. It was a pleasure having you. I hope now you are more open into the tea world, and now you'll be more of a 2-3 drink, at least 8 cups of tea.
A tea connoisseur, that's me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Woohoo! And in my opinion, this is why there are no tea shops in Kenya. I feel like there's such a huge gap in education. First of all, I feel like people should be educated and actually told the same way there are so many coffee shops everywhere you go is the same way there should be tea shops. And another thing, I think tea is very consumed every single day. You move to a kiosk, everyone is drinking tea. You go at home, the first thing you're gonna be served is tea. You go back to your home, you'll buy milk and take it home or something. But you won't find a designated area to enjoy the whole experience of tea. So I think that's something people should look into, and the investors who are able to invest into such things are supposed to do exactly that. That has been me, Wanjih Olasa, here in Murang'a County in collaboration with Marvel Executive Cars, and this is Gatura Greens. This is an area where you can come learn about tea farming, experience the whole tea tasting, everything, have a bit of lunch, which is really enjoyable. And you can find these people on Instagram. They have their website linked in their bio. You can give them a call or send them an email. Everything is linked on their bio, Gatura Greens on Instagram. So if you need to hire a vehicle, either for your wedding, for your occasions, for any kind of event, and you need to move in style, these are the guys to go to. Marvel Executive Cars on Instagram. They are the best.
Guys, I met these interesting people today. They were great to be around. They've done some great content. I've experienced firsthand what they do and exactly how much work they put into it. If you're interested in agriculture, things like that, please click subscribe, follow these guys, they're awesome.